guys, Lord here, back again with another video, and this is something I like to call the year-end review. This is something different I've decided to do for the channel. It's a video where I look back on the previous year and talk about the good stuff and, unfortunately, the bad stuff. And as far as action figures and toy-related things go, it was a pretty decent year. There was a lot of really nice releases, but as far as my real life goes, it wasn't so great for you, boy. Unfortunately, I lost my girlfriend of 7 months to COVID-19, or whatever you want to call it. I know people have their theories about that, but please don't be disrespectful in the comments. I know people have opinions about what's going on in the world today, but whatever it is, she's no longer with us, and no matter how you look at it, that freaking sucks. On top of that, I did have some health-related issues in regards to my vision and trouble eating, so yeah, it was not a very good year outside of the toy and action figure realm, which is what this channel is based upon, so we're going to come on back to that. That's going to be the main focus of this video. Because, well, to be honest with you, there was a lot of good stuff as far as releases and new reveals and new licenses being brought back, like the big purple guy in the middle there. Just a lot of really, really awesome stuff happened in 2021, despite the fact that, well, when reality sets in, it still wasn't the best of years. So, moving into the toy action figure side of things, Masters of the Universe is officially back. Origins was a little weak in the beginning of the year, not gonna lie, but it picked up steam towards the end, and then with the release of Masters of the Universe Revelation and the more kid-friendly He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series that hit Netflix later on in the year, Masters of the Universe, I'm glad to say, is finally back and back on store shelves. I know that we had Motu Classics about a decade ago, but those were a Mattel exclusive subscription deal that was just a right pain in the butt. Try and get anyone that was worth the crap, in my opinion. A lot of the main characters nowadays are a little bit out of my price range. Not a little bit, a lot out of my price range. So this Masterverse line is just going to have to do. I mean, we got Scareglow pretty early on in the line, which I think was also a thing in both Origins and Classics. Yeah, Scareglow was in Wave 2 of Origins, and he was in the first couple of years of Classics. So kind of funny that they're putting out a character that in the Vintage line did not see the light of day until the tail end. I think the last wave, in fact. He's getting put out really, really early. Probably because he just looks cool, and they know it'll sell. I mean, I have no business talking about statistics as far as toy sales go. I don't know crap about that, but I know that cool-looking skeleton guys sell a little bit better than lesbian-inspired Telas. So, that said, my Target's got plenty of them if you want one. Telas, not Scareglows, unfortunately. Not a lot of Wave 3 up here. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just starting to hit my buddy T-Biz's neck of the woods, so hopefully, at some point, they'll start hitting up here. But it can wait because your boy's kind of broke. So, you know, as much as I want some more Masterverse figures, it would be nice if they held off a little bit, maybe towards the second half of February. Which I know I'm posting this video, a year-end review of 2021, at the last day of January. But January, for me, if you haven't noticed, is a bit of a catch-up month. I got the Colossus Build-A-Figure completed this month. I got one of the figures from Wave 3 of Revelation, Scareglow, sitting right there this month. Some videos I hadn't already recorded, I put up this month as well. So January, for me, is a catch-up month. And when January's over, I can officially put 2021 or whatever the previous year may be in the books, because again, I live in upstate New York, so we get stuff a little bit late than a lot of you guys out there who do action figure reviews and whatnot. So keep that in mind. I'm not always first to get things. However, I am first to usually get the Four Horsemen drops, like the previous Mythic Legions sale for the reinforcements. I did snag a few things from that. Those will be the first reviews I do with the new format. I'm actually going to be taking some time off this week to get those videos ready. I'm hoping they show up in time. Fingers crossed. But with that being said, Four Horsemen, I love you, but you need to slow down a bit. You drop Cosmic Legions in, what, October? Right around PowerCon. And then in November, you drop the Poxus Wave. And then this month, you drop the reinforcements. Can we have, like, 2 months off, please? I like to buy other things. That's my problem, not yours, but I like to buy other things. I don't have a Patreon or ad revenue from this channel to get extra money to buy all this stuff that all these other people can somehow afford, which, if there is a way to get enough income to afford all this crap, sign me up for that, because I'd love to know how that's humanly possible, because I know people who work their butts off, and they still don't have enough to buy all this crap. So, you know, Four Horsemen, I love you. You are, by far, the toy company of the year, and your boy Chris Garwich, however you say his last name, he is gonna be in the action figure industry, whatever you want to call it, employee of the year, because that dude is just going on all cylinders. He's an awesome guy. He does the live streams every week with George Gaspar, previously of October Toys, and he's just fun to interact with. So, you know, I will give that guy a medal all day long for providing A, quality customer service, and B, keeping us up to date on all of our pre-orders. Something some of you other companies out there could take note of. Let's go. So, at any rate, I think Mofex is also guilty of that too. But, at any rate, Four Horsemen, I love you, but you need to slow it down just a little bit. If you're going to do anything, maybe throw up an All-Stars 5 poll. I would like to throw a vote down for Clavian, Ilgar, and Azar, because those are some characters I need to fill out some gaps in the old Mythic Legions collection. But speaking of Mythic Legions, holy crap, there was a lot of Mythic Legions this past year, mostly because all the stuff that got delayed from 2020 got pushed to 2021. A majority of it came out. Unfortunately, Alithia did not because of a tooling issue with ears of all things on the Vampire Brute Decabolus, however you want to say it. So we unfortunately did not get those, but we should be getting those like late spring, early summer this year, along with the Deluxe Legion builders, to my understanding, which also had a tooling issue. Not sure what that might be, but only time will tell, I guess. I'm sure Four Horsemen will keep us in the loop as to when things will be leaving the factory, because right now it's Chinese New Year, and they get almost like 2 months off, which is kind of crazy, because over here people fight to get 2 weeks. I have a couple of friends who can attest to that. But at any rate, Mythic Legions hit, and it hit hard. I mean, the Aether Wave was absolutely amazing. There's still a couple characters I do not have from that, Hadriana and the Red Shield Soldier. Hopefully I'll get those eventually. I'm not sure when that'll be, though. Maybe I'll have to wait for a reinforcements of one of those and an All-Star, but at any rate, Aether Wave hit. All-Stars, I want to say 3 and 4 hit. And then we had the Equidron Four Horsemen 20th Anniversary release hit as well. I think that was it. And we also had Krampus, but he is technically not a Mythic Legions figure. Quit calling it that. That's not what it is. It is a Figura Obscura. Go on Source Horseman if you want to question my knowledge on that, because if you look it up under Mythic Legions, it's not going to show up. I mean, you could definitely fit it in there, but at the end of the day, that's not what it is. And speaking of which, they just revealed the red version of Krampus, which looks pretty cool. although it looks a little bit more like the Devil from Tenacious D, more so than anything. But I'm a sucker, and I'm probably going to pick that up as well. Despite the fact I had quite a few QC problems with my Krampus. Well, the tail, I'll blame myself, but the loose hips, I don't know what's up with that. Literally tried pegging them things into several crotch pieces, and they're still loose, so waiting to hear back from Chris on that. They're a little bit backed up right now with the whole reinforcements thing, so I completely understand. So those of you still waiting for some customer service on that, or if you're like me, I'm actually waiting to get a replacement Forest Troll because I got a second one for Christmas and his elbow's freaking loose like my first one. Go figure, right? But if you are like me and are still waiting for stuff like that, just be patient. Don't be rude. Chris makes good. I can attest to that. I've given him plenty of shout-outs on this channel before. But moving on from Four Horsemen, we had some things come out this past year that are very near and dear to my heart. Three that come to mind are Spawn, Gargoyles, and Beast Wars. Speaking of which, I finally was able to pick up Airazor, which, can I just say that this figure is absolutely amazing. She looks gorgeous, man. Almost a perfect figure. A little bit loose in the wings where they rotate, but other than that, well, then she also has the little kind of joints for transformation in her legs there. I wish those kind of snapped in a little tighter, but other than that, that figure is absolutely fantastic. I love that mold. Looking forward to Pterosaur. An advance shout out to my buddy Evil Villain for the hookup on that one. Wouldn't have got it without him. I wouldn't have a secure line on it without him, I should say. Which, speaking of which, Tigatron and Rhinox have finally hit my area. That took them forever to come up here. Tigatron just hit a week ago. Rhinox hit in full force right around the holiday season and is still kind of hanging out. So hopefully I will be able to pick them up. Finish my Maximals. I still need Shadow Panther, but other than that, I don't plan on getting the other, what are they, fossilizers. I know they're homages to original Beast Wars characters, but I only really need one of each of those molds. I don't really think I need more than one, especially the, what is it, Pteranodon, or whatever that green version of Vertebrake is. I don't really feel I need those, though they would be cool to pick up maybe on some kind of discount or something, but at the end of the day, I don't think they're very necessary for my collection personally. I much prefer the Beast Wars characters. They just look amazing. I think that line is probably some of the best Transformers I've ever gotten. Some of my favorite Transformers in my collection are in that line. The Optimus Primal, of course, made my top 13 figures of the year, so that's obvious that he definitely is one of my favorite Transformers in my collection at this current time. But moving on from Transformers, we also had Spawn coming back. Now, Spawn didn't really hit my area. I don't know what's up with that. I got most of mine off of Target.com. And shout out to the local friend who shall not be named for privacy reasons for hooking me up with that Redeemer chase once again and beating COVID-19 himself. I was a little worried about him for a while, but he pulled through. Got vaccinated. Felt like crap after the second one like I did. I mean, is anyone else feeling that? I got that vaccine, and after the second shot and the booster, I got like just this massive headache, and it sucked. So Tylenol powder fixed that, but you know, it would be nice if they started handing out bribes before I got my shots. So, you know, just saying, an extra $50 here or there would be nice. But Spawn hit. It came back. And other than the Gunslinger, which hung out at my Target for a little bit, and the Clown who hit Walmart, for me anyways, we didn't really see like the Raven Spawn, the Redeemer, the Violator, any of those. Kind of weird because Spawn doesn't really move here, so if they did get him, they would hang out for a little bit, I would think. I don't know, I could be wrong, but the Mandarin Spawn hung out, the Clowns hung out, the Gunslinger even hung out for a couple of weeks, even though it was an exclusive and fetching a pretty penny on eBay. Still think it is to this day, even though they are re-releasing it with a big fat minigun, which, because I'm a sucker, I'm probably going to buy that one. I mean, that minigun just looks awesome, man. But, yeah, Spawn came back. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm hoping that McFarlane Toys steps up the quality, or just maybe raises the price a little bit to maintain the quality he had about a year ago, because for whatever reason, every other McFarlane I get now has something wrong with it. Like, here's to put it in this perspective for you. I've had less problems with Marvel Legends this past year than McFarlane Toys. That's a problem. I could deal with a stuck joint. I can usually heat those up, get them to move, no problem. That's not that big a deal. But they've been getting glue where it don't belong. Like my Lobo, my Etrigan replacement figure, I actually did replace mine because one of the legs was assembled incorrectly. And I actually just got the infected Shazam again, and there's parts broke on it. I mean, what the heck, man? What is going on at McFarlane Toys? I don't get it. I understand fully that a lot of the stuff is mass produced. Well, most of the stuff is mass produced. There are going to be issues here and there. I get that. But why the heck was this not a problem a year ago for McFarlane Toys, yet it seems to be on every other thing I buy from them now? I have a feeling it's not just a coincidence and just the norm. Okay, I'm fully aware that they make a lot of stuff. Stuff is mass produced, it's going to have problems, but if I didn't have hardly any problems with Marvel Legends, which I would argue they make more of, then why am I having problems with my McFarlane Toys? It needs to end, man, because I can't buy Spawn from anyone else. I can always go back and buy the Mattel DC stuff, but that stuff wasn't perfect either. I mean, between the gaudy looking pins, which I will say, for those of you who praise classics, you gotta admit those pins are very unsightly. The gaudy pins, loose joints, stuck joints, whatever you want to call it, they are also guilty of putting the wrong parts in the wrong places. I still have an Ares with 2 right biceps just because he's so freaking rare, or just expensive. I don't really think he's rare, but he's expensive, that's for sure. But yeah, McFarlane needs to step it up. I hope they do soon, because I like a lot of the stuff they're putting out as far as it looks, but if the quality isn't there, then I'm not going to buy it. That's the end of the line. And if I do buy it and it's jacked up, I'm going to buy my replacements from Big Bad Toy Store because their customer service department actually does their job. Sorry, not sorry, but Todd, you need to look into your company a little bit more. Be a little bit more involved like you used to be. I think you got your hands in too many pots. I know that a lot of people really like the Princess Bride figures, and I do as well. And to be fair, that movie, I will argue, was better than the Master of the Universe movie that came out around the same time. But is Todd going to expand upon that line, or is that all we're going to get? Because the way I see it, if you're going to pick up a license, you should try and make all of the characters people want, not just one wave and call it quits, which tends to be a McFarlane Toys thing. They will make one wave of figures, then they'll stop. Which isn't ideal if you're seeking out licenses. Like the Doom stuff. They only did a couple figures. And that was it. I want to say Game of Thrones. They did one wave of figures. That was it. I mean, he doesn't do it all the time. I'll give him credit. He doesn't do it all the time, but he's done it. And to this day, I don't really understand why, because the Game of Thrones stuff didn't really sell. The Doom stuff, I can't really speak upon that because I never saw Marauder in the store. I got mine off PBTS. But it's like he doesn't really go deep into those lines like he will with Spawn and DC, and I'm hoping he gives everyone the Princess Bride characters they want for people who like that movie a lot. I mean, I'm personally not going to buy those. I just don't have the extra funds. They look nice, but it's just not, I don't have nostalgic attachment to that movie, so therefore it's not my place to be buying that stuff. But I hope he doesn't just make one wave and call it quits, because that would suck. That would be kind of pointless to get the license and not make some of the core characters still. I mean, we need the inconceivable guy. What the heck? But at any rate, I think if Todd took his hands out of so many pots and just focused on DC, Spawn, the Witcher stuff, he seems to be going a little bit deeper into, so that's kind of nice. I'm hoping he goes deeper into Princess Bride, for those of you who want it. He's not doing Fortnite anymore, I don't believe. And then I don't know about My Hero Academia. But he's also got Avatar The Last Airbender. I think, is it Ex Machina? He just got the license to as well. So he's getting licenses, but are they going to go past 4 figures? Only time will tell. If they don't go past 2 or 4 figures, though, I would probably not even waste time with the license, even if the stuff does sell, because it's kind of hurting the quality of some of the other lines, I think. I don't know how that stuff works. Again, it ain't none of my business to be talking anything analytically about toy sales and whatnot, and quality and production and all this and that. I just think that if Todd McFarlane focused on just a few different brands, because he's not Hasbro. McFarlane Toys is not a small company anymore. Don't get it twisted. But he's not Hasbro. Hasbro has individual marketing teams for each brand. I don't think Todd has that kind of power yet. I hope he gets there. I really do. That would be awesome. But I just don't see that happening. But moving on from that, we have NECA and their Gargoyles line, which NECA is kind of like McFarlane Toys. Relatively small company. But they don't put out waves, really. They kind of do. But NECA is really kind of a quarterly release type of company. They'll put out one figure here, one figure there. They won't put out more than one at once from one particular brand. So they have time to make sure that the quality's up to par, that everything is good, everything is well done, good enough, you know. My Goliath had its issues, which I fixed with some heat warping, by the way. I warped the mid-torso, the hole a little bit more closed, and popped it back together. I don't believe I will have very many issues with looseness. I will say I am eagerly awaiting Bronx to take the big, massive wings off that thing, because they take up quite a bit of real estate, and I'm a little worried about something knocking into them. You know, I mean, that's just a precaution, but I see myself displaying these guys with the cloak wings just because that'll be a little bit more convenient as far as shelf space goes. Even though that's not my favorite look for the Gargoyles, I kind of prefer the in-between look with the wings spread out and the wings fully closed. Kind of like them compressed, condensed a little bit, but still sticking up, because it gives them a nice presence. It gives them an intimidation factor that the Gargoyles always seem to have when their wings are like that. Just looks cooler. At the end of the day, that's all it is. It just looks cooler. But, with that being said, right before Christmas, on Christmas Eve, no less, Bronx's box was leaked, and on the back we got to see Brooklyn, Broadway, and Lexington for the first time. So if you're wondering why my Throwback Thursday for Lexington went up before something else, that's why. We're going to do Broadway in a couple of weeks. Again, I'm taking this rest of this week off to get videos ready for the new format next week, which, FYI, BTW, all of the above, go to a 5 videos a week schedule, just so I don't run out of stuff. I don't mind doing a video every day, but when I start running out of stuff and I have days where I don't have anything to post, that kind of sucks. So 5 videos a week gives me time to work on the weekends, gives me time to catch up, be a little bit more ahead. I think that's more than reasonable. But the NECA Gargoyles line looks like it's going to expand quite a bit this year. Thailog, I think, is supposed to be out, but isn't quite out yet. Not sure what's up with that, but, you know, he can wait, because your boy, once again, still broke. I didn't magically make any money during the course of this video, so just saying. And then we also have Bronx to look forward to relatively soon, which I'm surprised they are putting him out so soon. He's not really a main Gargoyle character as far as the Manhattan clan goes. I would say it's Goliath, Brooklyn, and Hudson. who are like the main good guy Gargoyles, and then Broadwing and Lexington are kind of after that, and then you have Bronx, but whatever. I'm not opposed to getting any Gargoyles characters because it is by far my favorite animated series of all time. Yes, it does top Batman animated series for me personally, but it's because it's its own IP. It's not already based off of source material. They had to come up with a lot of this stuff on their own, and I'm a little bit more impressed by that than pulling characters directly from source material and putting them in different scenarios, which is exactly what Batman the Animated Series did. Granted, that show did reinvent the wheel for a lot of characters, but when that writing team goes and does something unique that hasn't been done before, that's when you catch my attention. So, Gargoyles looks like it's going to be hitting full steam ahead. I'm looking forward to what NECA has to show for that line. Hopefully sometime during February. I know Toy Fair was canceled, but I don't think that's going to stop NECA from having a big, awesome Gargoyles reveal like they would have if Toy Fair was not canceled. But moving on from probably the three lines that really did something for me this past year, Beast Wars, Gargoyles, and Spawn, we got to talk about Hasbro. Other than Transformers. Okay, we already talked about them a little bit, but Hasbro has A, stepped up their game, and B, kind of dropped the ball. Now, that's a very minute part. Dropping the ball, I'm going to refer to one brand and one brand only, Star Wars. What the heck is going on with Star Wars? There was like nothing. Nothing. And anything good was exclusive and you never saw it in the store. Target exclusive Clone Wars set, I'm looking at you because I do not have Anakin Skywalker and that drives me nuts. I have Obi-Wan, but I do not have the Anakin to go with him. So I sense a future archive wave with literally all of those figures in it at some point in the future because a lot of people still don't have them. And they want too much money for them on the secondary market. So, you know what? Bite me. Not to mention their HasLab failed, and it shouldn't have, because who doesn't want an awesome looking Black Series Rancor? But when they don't have the prototype in hand, even if it's not painted, just to have it in hand, to show the size off, to show the articulation off, that's not really good. Especially when a team across the hallway, the Marvel team, had the Galactus ready to go, they had the Sentinel ready to go, the Joe team had their HasLab ready to go. The Transformers team had their stuff ready to go. Like, there's really no excuse for that when all the other teams have their products in hand and ready to show off, even fully painted in some aspects. So, while I personally was not going to purchase that Rancor, I know a lot of people who were, and they were disappointed in the stretch goals. And when the stretch goals are things that the figure should have come with already, like the diorama and the skeletal remains they showed off, which was one of the stretch goals. I don't think it was the first one. I think it was the second one. And then all the stretch goals are figures we already have in one way or another. The Gamorrean Guard, Salacious Crumb, Jedi Luke. Granted, the Jedi Luke was an improvement, but it wasn't the Rancor Keeper, which they dropped at the tail end to try and get it funded, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. I know a lot of people who wanted an Ula figure, but is that her name? She's the green chick with the tentacle hair, or tentacles sticking off her head. I know a lot of people who wanted that character. That was never a stretch goal. I know a few other characters that people wanted that would have worked in that HasLab. That would have been nice stretch goals. Either way, I don't think the Rancor was done the best. Galactus, it makes sense to pack a Silver Surfer with Galactus because it's Galactus and Silver Surfer's kind of his homie. And then they also gave you Nova and Morg, which Morg is kind of an obscure character. So I don't know what wave he would have fit into, although we do get some really stupid, obscure characters. That one actually not being stupid kind of bums me out that they're not going to put him in a wave because he looked kind of cool. And Nova being a little bit more of a main character, it also kind of bums me out that it doesn't look like they're going to stick her in a wave either. I didn't have $400 for no Galactus. I mean, Mythic Legions is one thing because you're getting more than, what, 4 figures for a few $100. You get steeds and different size figures and all this and that. I mean, you do the HasLab Marvel thing too, but at the end of the day, I just think Four Horsemen give you a little bit more value for a dollar when it comes to a chunk of change like that. But the Rancor, I believe, was $350, and I think the Rancor itself was probably worth about $250, and then all the extra stuff was gonna add up to that final $100, but I just didn't see it, man. I mean, Salacious Crumb is like a staction. I don't believe it has any movement, so yeah. That's the Hasbro team that I think dropped the ball this past year. The distribution on Star Wars, the amount of product available, and just some of the decisions made for the line, I just don't feel were good at all. Um, Star Wars is finally kind of starting to last on the pegs now. Like, good buddy T-Biz saw Aura Singh the other day. She's a pretty popular character, last I checked, so kind of crazy she's just hanging out at Target, especially in an area like his that's full of collectors. But moving on from that, the Marvel team, the Joe team, and you know what? We'll talk about the Transformers team again. I'm not going to talk about the Power Rangers team because that's not my thing. I know a lot of people who like the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. That's fine. If that's your jam, that's cool. I like the monsters, and I didn't see a whole lot of monsters, so kind of for me. They did show that eyeball guy and the kind of fish-looking guy. I think those are cool. Might have to pick those up, but other than that, I didn't really see a whole lot for me in that line. I know a lot of people like the Tenga Warrior. I might have to pick one of those up at some point. He's cool looking kind of bird guy. I think he was in the movie, but he was in the series a little bit later, an old 90s show, so, you know, that's just kind of a cool looking figure. I wouldn't mind having one just to check out. I never bought any of the putty guys, but the Tenga Warrior looks a little bit more interesting, so I might have to check him out. But the Marvel team and the Joe team. We already talked about Transformers, but they stepped it up too. This Beast Wars line, again, going back to this Air Razor, this thing is freaking gorgeous. Look at this figure. This quality piece that's almost masterpiece quality as far as the aesthetics go. And the transformation, while a little tricky at first, not too difficult, which is what I like in my Transformers. A little bit tricky, you gotta find all the parts that move, but once you do, you can do it in no time. It's relatively easy. Unless it's that movie Devastator, then that thing is a right pain in the butt, and I don't really feel like transforming it outside of the combined mode. But let's first talk about the Joe team, because G.I. Joe, I feel, is a line I can keep up with, although they do have a couple figures out right now, and it sucks I don't have the money for them, the Cobra Bat and Alley Viper. The Joe team stepped it up, okay? Now, I will tell you, I think the drop-down hips can go at this point. My love for those is gone. I don't like them. They're just kind of loose for me. I don't mind that they're loose, but I also don't like the fact that I gotta kind of lubricate some of the hips on those. You know, I would prefer not to break my toys. Hashtag don't break your toys. Sometimes you gotta lube those up to get them to work. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. Some people like the drop downs, some people don't. Also, not a fan of the butterfly joints. And the fact that they're all lefties. I wish they just had the up and down hinge in both hands. But really, that's some minor nitpicky bullcrap, okay? That's just some whiner crap. Well, actually, the quality on the hips is actually kind of an issue. But the butterfly joints being stuck, I've managed to get those unstuck with the help of some heat and cooling techniques I've learned in my years of being a collector. You guys know how that is. Heat and cool usually tends to work. Maybe a little bit of lubricant also helps. But the drop down hips I think can go. I think the quality of the hips is going to eventually wean on that, and it's not going to be very good. So hopefully they fix that. Or just make them tighter. I don't know. The drop downs themselves, I don't mind the function of it, but they are kind of loose, and those pins are not as good as, say, a barbell on a Marvel Legends figure. Like Ultron, for example, because he is just about as perfect of a Marvel Legend as you can get. He's got the barbell, and yes, it's got detents that are tight, but I don't have any problems moving this leg. I don't feel like it's going to break or stress doing that. Which, by the way, Marvel Legend of the Year right here. He didn't make it into the Hall of Fame, which is kind of stupid, but I don't know. My opinions change. I mean, that stinking PulseCon Venom over there, he made it in. I can't tell you why. He was my number 2 Marvel Legend, not my number 1, but I just like Venom more as a character. So my bias is going to be very, very high when it comes to Venom releases. If they are done even remotely better than any of the Hyperion Venoms we got, which thank God we got a Venom not on that body. Which I'm going to tell you right now, you're welcome, because I don't know anyone who crapped on that Hyperion body more than I did. I crapped on it hard. I crapped on that more than the rest of you crap on Bucky Cap. I don't see the problem with Bucky Cap other than it's overused. It's a decent body. Hyperion was overused and it was crap. But going back to G.I. Joe for a second, they totally changed the game. Their game, anyways. They fixed their distribution. You were able to find them in the store relatively easy, like Zartan, the Cobra Infantry. Even the Alley Viper and Cobra Bats are pretty plentiful in certain areas. The local buddy who shall not be named for privacy reasons went to a store south of where I'm at, and they had 4 of each of them. So, you know, that's not too shabby. As far as army builders go, granted, I know people up here will buy them all, but I have a feeling I have a pretty good chance of getting them at some point. I would like to get them sooner rather than later, though, just because of content for the channel, but, you know, money don't grow on trees. So, on top of the fact that they fixed their distribution, the Target exclusive thing was so much less of a pain in the butt than it used to be. I got all of the Target exclusives with no problems. Barbecue, Breaker the Ram Cycle, Major Blood, Firefly, and the Cobra Viper, which was kind of at the beginning of that. It wasn't like that at first. Firefly and the Cobra Viper were kind of expensive when they first hit. They went down a little bit, and they made it to where you could buy them online. I thought that they were going to re-release them to the store, so I still am without a Cobra Trooper. A little bit bummed about that. I would like to get one of the Cobra Island Cobra Troopers just to have one, because it is a little different from the one I already got, the Cobra Infantry figure. That, and I also want to mention the QC is a little bit better this year. I did have one issue, and that was the Cobra Infantry. I think they got some glue in his butterfly joint that swings back and forth. Another reason I'm not fond of those. But other than that, I don't really remember having any issues that weren't easily fixable. Because the Cobra Infantry I actually just had straight up replaced. Which they did send me a replacement figure, so thank you Hasbro for that. I sent my extra one to T-Biz just so he could start a Cobra army up. And so I could get an Origins Hordak that doesn't have a loose boot. Still waiting on that, by the way. Jokes aside, though, G.I. Joe's, as far as quality goes, I think I only had to fix a butterfly joint on Barbecue, and Lady J had a drop-down hip that was stuck, but a little bit of heat fixed that. So, nothing that took too long to fix. Nothing really. So, you know, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones as long as the problems get resolved. But moving on from G.I. Joe, because they're just gangbusters at this point. They know what they're doing. They know how to present. They know how to get us hyped. They know what we want. I mean, T-Biz and I pretty much called all of the PulseCon reveals that they had to show. But moving on from them, we have the Marvel team. Boy, do you guys know how to get me excited for Spider-Man stuff. Let me tell you what. Spider-Man Retro Wave's hitting right now. I'm super stoked. Even though I'm broke, I'm super stoked. Finally have some more Spider-Man comic book stuff in my life because it's been needed. We didn't have a lot of that last year, and since it's the 60th anniversary of old Webhead, I'm super excited to see what they have to show for the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff. That Iron Spider looks amazing. Looks really, really cool. Really, really nice. Looking forward to that. Moving on from Spider-Man. It is the 50th anniversary of my favorite fictional character, comic books or otherwise, of all time, Ghost Rider. Where is my Danny Ketch, dadgummit? We are overdue for a new Danny Ketch. I have the Toy Biz one, so before all y'all go and start talking smack in the comments being like, there's a Danny Ketch in Marvel Legends, Toy Biz made it. Yeah, I have it. I've had it since I was 5 years old. Kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing today. So before y'all go start talking smack, I already have that figure. I love that figure, but we need an updated one to go with the current Legends line to match the aesthetic. We need it. We want it. Give it to us now. Screw these Eternals and Squirrel Girls and Captain Marvels and all this stupid crap. We need a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider NOW now. We needed it yesterday, man. What is up with that? Finally given a Sleepwalker, though, so I'm okay with that. Even though I would have liked him on the Grim Reaper body, maybe, because he's supposed to be a slightly taller fella. I don't mind that he's on Bucky Cap because I know the anatomy at least is going to look normal, unlike Hyperion, where he's got a giraffe neck, a shelf chest, and cankles. God, that body is so terrible. Which, can I just say, I think if Hasbro should be proud of anything, it's the fact that they gave us a Venom on the Omega Red body. Because God bless that body for existing. It's an amazing body. It is by far one of my favorite bodies in the Legends line. Albeit with some gummy knees and some ports in the shoulders. I'll let that slide because it's still not as bad as Hyperion. Even though it doesn't have those problems, it's still better. I don't care. The anatomy is so much better, I can omit those other little nitpicky things. I will say, though, if they do make a classic comic book style Venom this year, I am more than likely going to be swapping the hands out with this guy so he has the white squares on the back. If he's supposed to look like the 90s animated series, I'm going to be a stickler about it and say that yes, he should have those, even though that might not bug everybody, and clearly didn't bug me enough for making him my second favorite Legend of the year. I will say that he does need those white squares at some point. And I think if we get a classic comic style Venom with that Null figure, which looks freaking awesome, dude. If we get a classic Venom with that, that'll fix that problem. So, take that for what it's worth. But speaking of Venom, Venom 2 came out this year. Not a whole lot for that, unfortunately, but I will say I do love Tom Hardy as Venom. He is my favorite Venom. I think he is my favorite Venom. I'm looking back on it. The animated one was cool, voiced by Moe of The Simpsons, ironically. But I think I like the movie Venom the most, even though it's not really true to the comic book version of Venom. I really dig how he came out in the movies. I like the character. I like the camaraderie between Eddie Brock and Venom. And I just like the story. I think the story is actually pretty good. And I'm a sucker for CGI monster fights. So what are you going to do? Can we please get a Carnage from that movie, though? That's what we really need. But, yeah, I definitely think that Tom Hardy is making up for the fact that I was a little bit disappointed in the Bane from Dark Knight Rises, which I know that movie's old. Y'all are going to talk smack and be like, you need to start talking crap about that. It happened a long time ago. Here's the thing. All you guys out there crap on Motu Revelation, or the previous Star Wars trilogy, or anything else that's come out in the past 10 years, y'all are going to crap on it at some point. People are going to crap on things at some point. Yes, I am fully aware that the last Star Wars trilogy was crap, and I will crap on it with you. Let me crap on something, will ya? That Bane sucked. S-U-C-K-E-D. Bane is not a hard character to do in the movies. I'm hoping that at some point we get a really cool Bane for the movies with this Robert Pattinson Batman series they're going to start doing, because I got to tell you, a good DC movie are far and few between. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam are by far the best ones since... Is it Dark Knight Returns that had the Heath Ledger Joker in it? That was like the last good DC movie until those three came out. Literally. Not to mention, the Nolan trilogy did all the other Batman villains justice, except that one. And he was the easiest one to do. So, you know, I shouldn't care about it at this point, but gosh darn it, if he wasn't my second favorite Batman villain of all time, I probably wouldn't. It's kind of hard when it's your favorite one of your favorite characters, okay? That's like if they made Darth Vader a punk, and he just couldn't fight, and he lost to everybody. Like, that would suck. So, you know, to each their own, but let a boy crap on something if he wants to crap on something. Once in a while. I don't do it every day. Jeez, oh Pete. But Venom 2, definitely my favorite movie of the year. Getting back to Hasbro's Legends line, I love the pinless tack. God, it's such an improvement over what we used to have. What we used to have sucked. The Flopodopolis knees, oh my god, so many figures fell because of that. Now, I don't really have those problems unless they're a little bit more petite. So, you know what? I'll take the pinless deck all day long. I don't care if I have to heat it. I don't care. I prefer it. It's awesome. It's sturdy. It's quality. That's all I ask is quality for my money. If you're going to charge $25 a piece for these frickin' things, make them worth the $25. Throw that pinless tech in there. Make me want to buy that figure that's, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit pricey. So yeah, there you go. Pinless tech, the way of the future. I'm hoping G.I. Joe introduces it a little bit more. Transformers kind of already have it. I mean, they got metal pins and more ABS going on because you have to transform them into other things. But as far as the Hasbro lines I collect, I'm fully okay with them going all out pinless in the near to distant future. I will take it. Definitely take it. That said, we got a lot of classic villains, too. We got Dormammu, Red Skull, Ultron, Thanos. Some pretty big names. I mean, Dormammu maybe not, but he's a big Doctor Strange villain. So yeah, we are getting some pretty big villains in the Marvel Universe as far as Legends go this past year. We also got MODOK. I didn't buy that thing. I didn't think it was worth $50. It's a ball with arms and legs. Come on. I can only assume he's mostly hollow, too. Unless that thing has, like, the best paint apps in the planet. I don't think it's worth $50. I really don't. Maybe 40. I think it was worth probably 40. But 50, yeah, you're pushing it. But we got a lot of really good villain figures last year. Can't deny that. And I will say, the Age of Apocalypse Colossus wave, while AOA might not be everyone's cup of tea, I definitely know it's not the cup of tea of a friend of mine's. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That Colossus BAF is a really solid BAF, and I have to say that wave is arguably better than the first wave. I still don't have Magneto, and I also don't have the integrated suit Spider-Man from the Armadillo wave, which can I also say, that wave exceeded my expectations. I had a lot more fun with it than I thought I would, because it is mostly a movie wave. But you guys know how I feel about that, especially when it comes to my Spider-Man. We didn't get a Spider-Man comic wave last year. Kind of sucks about that, but we did get the retro card wave early this year, so something to look forward to, right? I mean, if you want to count Stiltman as a 2021 wave, I guess we did not get a comic book Spidey wave at all. We did get some fan channel exclusive figures. I still need that Sandman. Sandman looks really good. Really good. I kind of prefer him a little bit smaller. I don't mind him being big, but I like having a small one too. That's what she said. But yeah, Legends definitely stepped it up a little bit. I think they could step it up a little bit more with character selection. I don't need a bunch of MCU figures. I know a lot of people like the MCU figures. I'm kind of over it, man. Although I do have hope that Norman Reese is going to be Ghost Rider and that the Moon Knight series ties into the upcoming Werewolf by Night series and the Doctor Strange movie ties into the rest of the Midnight Suns characters, like Morbius or something, and Morbius maybe ties into all of it as well. Because I gotta tell ya, The direction I'm seeing the main MCU go into, not a fan of it. It looks to me like Doctor Strange movie's going to be all about America Chavez, and it should just be a freaking Doctor Strange movie where he fights Nightmare or Dormammu or something. I mean, can we just have a Doctor Strange movie where he fights Dormammu? Is that so hard? I mean, build up to it, that's fine, but can we have that? Can we have that? Can we have the dude character fight the dude villain? Please and thank you. I don't need a bunch of Captain Marvels in my MCU. That's just redundant, unoriginal, and stupid. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I like my Avengers to have some sausage in it. Sorry, not sorry. At any rate, hopefully the MCU has something for me this time next year. And I'll be happy, because I gotta tell you, superhero movies just aren't doing it for me lately. I'm starting to write the Blade Killer story, which, speaking of which, Four Horsemen, thanks so much for that Belphegor figure. You saved me a lot of money from paying someone to make a custom Blade Killer figure. But having my Blade Killer story getting started here, I'm probably going to start hardcore writing on that. And I'll make some videos talking about that. Those will be for the weekends, since I'm only doing 5 videos a week as far as reviews go. But yeah, is that it? I guess we should talk about the Overlord Action Figure Hall of Fame. In which I'm just going to tell you to go check out the playlist, because the playlist is freaking massive. The playlist is absolutely gargantuan, dude. It is so much more than it used to be. And that's crazy, because I did not expect it to be that at all. Goliath is in there. The Mortal Kombat spawns are both in there. The Malefic and the Blood Feud Hunter, which I did fix with the Elmer's glue, by the way. Side note. Shout out to my buddy Brian Starner, aka Toy Nuts, about that. Everything you see on screen, except for Skeletor. He's not in it, but he's probably going to get added to it. Even though I'm not crazy about that armor, I still keep playing with that figure. So I obviously like him enough. I mean, Scareglow's head doesn't even match the rest of him. I mean, let's be real here. Who's got the more problematic thing going on with aesthetics? The fact that Skeletor's armor is kind of tricky to stay on. The fact that Scareglow's head don't even match the rest of him. If I put him in there, even though he's got that going on, I think I should put Skeletor in there. What do you guys think? I like that figure a lot. I still mess with it to this day. I just got Triclops too, so I'm stoked about that. That'll be a video coming in the next couple of weeks. It's kind of old now. It's been out for a couple of weeks already. A lot of people have already reviewed it. My good buddies Eltenda and T-Biz both have already reviewed it, so check out their videos. I will say, though, if you do get him and your Grand Poobah visor doesn't spin on the extra head, just heat it up, work the glue loose, and you can pop that top piece off and get that visor to turn, no problem. It's tight, but it works. What else do we got here? We got PulseCon Venom. He made it into the Hall of Fame, even though he's got his problems, but I'm willing to omit that because I just love the fact that we finally got a Venom on a body that's worth a crap. And then the movie Venom. I added him this year. He wasn't in it originally. I also added a few other things that were on my top 10 figures of 2020 list. The Batman Who Laughs, both the regular and the Sky Tyrant versions, both got added, as well as the NECA King Kong and Cosmic Ghost Rider. So all of those got added this year. They were 2020 figures, but I change my mind sometimes. And you know what? I don't care. My channel, my rules. Other figures that aren't in it currently but might get into it eventually, the Gunslinger Spawn, he's actually not in there, but I'm probably going to add him if I add Skeletor, to be perfectly honest with you, because I love that figure. It was also a hookup from a buddy T-Biz, which makes it more sentimental to me personally. What else? I don't know if Mandarin Spawn made it either, or the Raven Spawn. I don't think Raven Spawn made it either. Redeemer could make it, maybe. I don't know. Violator made it in there. Brother Mandibulus, Malleus, Tibius, Scaphoid, and Pixis all made it in there. And last but not least, Belphegor, Arethyr, of course, made it in there too. So, you know, lots of figures made it in there. Krampus made it in there still. I said Goliath already, right? And then as far as Marvel Legends goes, I did add Surtur, because you can't go wrong with a 13-inch demon figure, as far as I'm concerned. Again, I don't know why I didn't add Ultron here. I should have, but whatever. But this video's been going on long enough. Trying to think what else. Etrigan and Swamp Thing made it in there, along with Death Metal Batman and the Bat Cycle. Lady Death made it in there. King Diamond and Papa Emeritus. Everything on my top 13 made it in there. The Mezco Dr. Fate made it in there. The Mezco Blade made it in there. That was the other Mezco I had that made it in. And speaking of Mezco, still waiting on my Ghost Rider. Not sure what's going on with that. And then I'm also waiting on Animal Warriors of the Kingdom from Spiro Collectibles. So that'll be a new line to check out this summer, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I could wait on my Mezco Ghost Rider, to be honest with you, because I only have like 20 bucks down on that right now, and that's not a cheap thing. That said, I would like to expand my Mezco collection. I just wish I had a better understanding of when this stuff was coming out. That said, Super 7 Ultimates, the Disney stuff, I'm all in on that. I can't not be. That and the Animaniac stuff just does it for me. Stuff I've wanted for years, so hopefully we will be seeing more of that. But this video has gone on long enough. It is probably over an hour. My sincerest apologies for about that. I don't know if I'll even have background music for this one, just because I've been talking my arse off this whole time. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload more content to the channel. Got more coming at you a week from now. Stay tuned for that. Someone's going to the bathroom, of course. I need more insulation in this room. But as always, got to show that algorithm whose boss right. And if you haven't already, hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions, where you can see me do live unboxings of all kinds of cool stuff. I've been doing a lot more lately. Plan on doing a lot more live streams on there. That's kind of my New Year's resolution. Do more Instagram live videos because they're fun, even though I can't keep up with the chat for crap. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when 2021 was, well, 2020 Part 2. Hopefully 2022 doesn't turn out to be the same, and I can finally get my arse back to work. That's the other thing I want to do. That's my other resolution, get back to work, even though my vision's not the best. So hopefully I can still do what I used to do. We'll see, though. With that being said, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.